Hey everyone, Jamie here. I wanted to talk about what's top of mind for me is that it's about to be spring break for my kids. And it just was almost overwhelming, all the things that I sort of wanted to accomplish and get done during spring break. And I started making my list yesterday and I was thinking about it today. And it made me think about, I delivered a group coaching call yesterday. And something that I talked about is like the theme of the call was about time and time expansion, and how the vast majority of us walk around every day and we don't even realize that we have this scarcity mindset when it comes to time. Like you don't even realize it, but you're so many of us are constantly, first of all, we're rushing. The fact that you are rushing literally means it is a reflection of a scarcity mindset. I mean, 99.9% of the time, rushing around means I don't have enough time, or rushing around means I have to do this quickly or I'm not going to get there on time, or like, again, it's like a not enough. It's like a lack-based mindset. So if you, and by the way, this was me my entire life, was, right? Like I am every day in some small way stepping into a different version of myself, but this is my default. This is how I was my entire life. And I'm 42. So a lot of experience being like this. Like I'm at the grocery store and it's like if I'm behind a slow walker, I'm just like, like, and in my head, I'm thinking, how do I get around this freaking person, but not in a way where I come across as offensive or aggressive or rude? You know, I don't want to, like, I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm not trying to be passive aggressive, but I have something in me where it's like, ugh, I just want to get around this person. They're going so slow, rushing, feeling like you always have to hurry up and get going to get somewhere. If you're ever just like, oh God, I just don't have enough time for all of this. If you're ever like, if you're thinking like, this shouldn't take this long. So I'm thinking about business owners, or someone who's, like on a health journey and they're trying to lose a bunch of weight or something like that, right? God, this is taking so long. This is taking forever. It shouldn't take this long. What am I doing wrong? Why is this taking so long? Okay. Most of us, like, it's so habitual that we don't even recognize that all of those thoughts actually represent a lack-based or scarcity-based mindset, which is not good, right? We definitely want to intentionally be in an abundant mindset. So the conversation of the group coaching call yesterday was about time expansion. And so the first thing I talked about was this, subconscious or unconscious, this hidden sort of stream of scarcity and lack mindset when it comes to time that the vast majority of us have flowing within us, and we're completely we are completely unaware of it, right? So that's step one, increasing awareness. Going like, oh shit, that's me. Like that's how I am. Those are some of the thoughts I think in my head as I'm like rushing around trying to get from point A to point B or whatever. The other thing that I brought up on this coaching call that to me was very profound, but what hilariously this morning I'm listening to the audiobook for Mel Robbins' The Let Them Theory. And she says it in a different way, but literally covers what I was talking about on my coaching call yesterday. So I was like, okay, there you go. So here's the thing. We all have like thousands and thousands of thoughts, like, like tens of thousands of, input coming in. Our brain is processing the shit out of all the things. And we have thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of thoughts like flying through our head. And then what happens though? What happens is we latch on to one of those thoughts, or we latch on to some of those thoughts. And we sort of sink our teeth into them, and then we make it mean something, which then generates an emotional response. And so this is what I wanted to get at. What interferes with our ability to feel, to expand time? What interferes with it? It's the thoughts that we think and then the emotional reaction we have to them. Because when you think about it, we have all these thoughts and then we just we hook into some of them. And then what happens is our emotional response is what then causes procrastination, causes us to waste our time and energy because we get into that swirl, that emotional swirl, and it takes us down, literally and figuratively. Something happens, we make it mean something, we have an emotional reaction to it, and then there's this whole recovery time, not to mention all the time we waste, right? All the time we waste dwelling on it, thinking about it, overanalyzing it. And then, processing and releasing that. It takes a lot of energy. It takes our time. That is our biggest time waster. And again, you can actually rationalize, like, let's say you're procrastinating. Let's say you're scrolling on your phone. Why? Why are you scrolling on your phone? It is a coping mechanism. You are distracting yourself from thoughts and feelings that are uncomfortable. So it all comes back to this emotional response that we have to the thoughts that we're thinking. Now, the way Mel Robbins talked about it was she just called it, here we go. She was talking about it in terms of stress. But it's essentially the same thing. We're talking about exactly the same thing. She was saying, I don't know, Harvard doctor, this or that of this or that, right? Like neuroscience, this or that, whatever, whoever her expert was, talking about the fact that 7 out of 10 people nowadays are literally existing in a chronic state of stress. And she was saying, why do you procrastinate? Why aren't you getting anything done on your to-do list? It's because you are existing in this state of stress. And then again, exactly what I was saying on my group coaching call, what she's saying there is that we have a thought and then we, in an instant, have an emotional reaction to it because of what we make that thought mean. And so she is just getting into the part of her book where she's talking about how do you sort of intervene when you see that you're having this stress response in your body. And anyways, so it's just so aligned with what I was talking about. And again, this was very top of mind for me because I was making this massive to-do list for this next week while we're on spring break. And so it was, it was just so timely that it's like, oh gosh, I had just talked about this on the group coaching call. Then this morning I'm reading about it in Mel Robbins' book, The Let Them Theory. And so my advice to you, so this was just like a video sort of hopefully bringing awareness to you, bringing awareness to your current state of mind. Are you someone who is like, it's all good, I'm going to get it all done, boom, 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 and you just like attack the day and you attack the projects and you just get your shit done and you feel so good about yourself and it's amazing? Or are you like the vast majority of people who all these things that you want to get done, you have a list even maybe, or we're even just reflecting on your everyday existence where it's like, I've got shit to do. I've got places to go. I've got people to see. I've got projects to work on, and they're not getting done. I think the whole theme of this video is just the dynamics around time. What impacts them? What influences them? What affects them? What inhibits, right? Because the example I gave on my group coaching call was, I was talking about doing taxes every year. And I have now come to the place where I fully, unconditionally, lovingly accept that I'm just not going to work on my taxes all year long. I am the type of person that knows when I have to get them done by. I trust myself that I will get them done by that date. And then I wait for the moment when inspiration strikes, and then I start working on it, and usually I get it done in 2 to 3 sittings tops. And that is, juxtapose that against what I used to do, which is I used to judge myself. I used to criticize myself. I used to like shame myself and say that I was being irresponsible by not maintaining spreadsheets all year long and sort of doing all of the work all at once at one time in the month before I send my stuff over to my accountant. And the truth is that it is painful and slow and horrible trying to do my taxes, trying to force myself to do my taxes when it's not in flow, when it's not what I want to be doing. And so that was another just facet of this conversation around this, around the this discussion around time. Because for me, there's no point in doing something until I'm like ready and inspired to do it. And so all of this is, I have no idea if this conversation is of any value whatsoever to any of you. I don't know if you're like, Jamie, make a point and stick with it or what. But first of all, time is fluid. We all know this. We all know that if we're doing like a wall sit or a plank, 20 seconds feels like a freaking hour. And we all know that if we are having like the time of our lives, I'm just imagining how much fun Guardians of the Galaxy Rewind roller coaster was over at Epcot when we went to Disney. And it was just so much fun. And like Tron was another one it was so much fun. And it felt like the ride lasted 20 seconds. Now, to be fair, I think the ride was probably like 2 minutes or something like that. So it's not like it was 10 minutes or an hour. But when you're really having fun doing something, time flies by in an instant. And you're just like, wait, what? Like, seriously? I know, like when I was catching up with a friend at a coffee shop, we just like looked up and it had been 3 hours. And it was like, holy shit, where did the time go? We were just chatting. Like, it felt like we had just sat down 15 minutes earlier. We all understand that, right? We know what that's like when we're doing something that is really hard, grueling, something we don't want to be doing, time feels like it just drags on and on and on and takes a million years. When we're doing something enjoyable or fun or we're in flow, it feels like it flies by. And how many of us have had that experience? I absolutely have, and I know you have too, where you tell yourself, like, okay, I need to get this project done in the next 4 hours. And magically, you get it done in 4 hours. Like, how many times, this is reminding me of college, how many times was it like, fuck, like, shit, like, I have this paper or this project and it's due in like 6 hours, right? And you totally forgot about it. And wouldn't you know, that thing that probably would have taken you 4 days to complete, you somehow get it done in that 6 hours before the deadline hits. Whoa, there's just a sort of military plane fly by, like a jet. So anyways, we have all had those experiences where they say that, like, the task will take the amount of time that you have allotted for it, right? Like, I feel like everybody has examples of that. We all have examples of, like, this is the amount of time I have for this. It cannot take longer than that, and you magically get it done. Even though under all other circumstances, when you're not in that time constraint, the task takes a lot longer. And so again, this speaks to the importance of flow. I also think the one of the points I made on the group coaching call was the importance of also trusting ourselves to get the thing done. Like, do you know yourself to be someone who gets that thing done in the amount of time you've designated? Or do you not trust yourself to do that? Do you think of yourself as someone who just never gets around to it? Do you know yourself to be someone who never gets their projects done? Do you know that about yourself? Because if that's something you know, well, damn, you're basically telling the story. You are basically saying, I'm not going to get that done. That's not the type of person I am. And then you won't. You know? I just feel like I feel like I have bounced all around the place because it's such a rich topic, you know? This concept of time. This whole time, by the way, there's this word that I've been wanting to think of, and I can't think of it, and it's been driving me nuts. I just had to acknowledge that right now. I know the minute I stop recording, I am allowing it to drop in. I'm going to keep talking, and if it is relevant to this video, and if it's of value, it will drop in before the end of the video. If not, it's fine. There you go. That's how you handle that. Okay. So time, if you are the type of person that feels like you don't have enough time or there's never enough time, step one is awareness. Awareness that, like, oh shit, I have this stream of lack flowing within me, and I am telling the story, and I am an energetic match for never having enough time. I don't like that. I don't want that. Step two is practice trusting yourself. Trusting that if you want something to be done and you want it to be done in a certain time frame, that you will do it. Start telling the story that that's the type of person you are. I trust that I can get all of these things done during spring break, and I don't have to force it. I don't have to drag myself to do it. I am trusting. I am saying, okay, this is important to me, and I am in integrity with myself. So I am going to prioritize this. But if I don't feel like doing it right now, what do I feel like doing? And I trust I will come back around to this thing and get it done at some point during spring break because it's important to me and I can trust myself, etc., etc., right? And then let's say like a turbo boost, something that you can do to enhance your results and your experience is you can imagine how good it feels. Oh my God, there's something we didn't even get around to. Ugh. Okay, let me finish my thought. Imagine how good it feels that you did the thing. So like one of my projects is I want to totally gut all of our cabinets and I want to reorganize them. All of our snacks. I want them reorganized. By the way, I have this huge list and I haven't actually decided these have to happen during spring break. I will honestly be thrilled about getting one of these projects done because there's so much I'm doing with the kids. And we are traveling for part of spring break as well. So let me just put a little caveat here for my own personal plans. There are several things that it would be nice if I got done, but they're all pretty girthy projects. So again, all of the snack cabinets, and we basically have like 3 pantries. So this is not a small task. We have 3 freezers, and I want to gut all the freezers, and then I want to put the food back in an organized, thoughtful way, meaning the things that we use in our freezer on a practically daily basis, that should be in our main freezer upstairs in our kitchen. And then we have a deep freezer, and then we have a second like we have a kitchenette in the in our we have like a finished basement, so it's got like a like a bedroom, a bathroom, a family room, and then it's got its own kitchenette down there, and so we have all the we've got those cabinets are packed, and we've got a shit ton of food on the counters as well. And then we have the deep freezer and we have the fridge and the freezer down there too, and they're fully stocked as well. So do you see what I'm saying? By the way, why am I going into all of this? This is not really relevant for the video. Okay, so focus, Jamie. The bottom line is I still have to make a decision about what matters most to me and what is actually on my list and what am I deciding? Yes, this is going to get done during spring break. And then what's on the list of this would be cool if it happened, but honestly, I'm not putting too much on my plate. You know what I'm saying? So once I decide what is on that list, once I decide the thing that is definitely getting done, that's when I can do this step where I'm just okay, how good is this going to feel? How amazing is this going to feel? How exciting is this going to feel? And I can really I can marinate in that energy. What that's doing is it's activating the energy of it is done. And that is part of the process of ultimately getting it done, is being in the energy of yes, I know that I am going to, I know that this is essentially done. It's just a matter of doing it. Okay. The thing I didn't get to was talking about how our emotions are like a double-edged sword. because like Mel Robbins talked about our emotions, and she talked about it in terms of, she kind of characterized it as like the stress response. And I talked about it as like you're having an emotional reaction to a thought that you're thinking or what you're experiencing. You're making it mean something. You're giving it meaning. Same thing. Because if it was a good stress response, if it was a good emotional reaction, it wouldn't be causing any problems. So inherently, we're talking about when it's an emotional reaction that's like not good, when it's lower level, when it's a stress response that feels bad to us in our bodies, you know? And so our emotions are actually a double-edged sword, because our emotions are actually our greatest asset. They are the sharpest tool in our shed, except for when we accidentally cut ourselves with them, right? And so the thing is, we have to remember, and I've made videos about this already, our emotions are our guidance system, telling us, are we in alignment or out of alignment with this thing that we deeply desire? Okay, so we have to remember that our emotions are either what bring us down, right? They either cut us to our core and sever our ability to be productive and stay focused and get shit done by being in that emotional negative swirl where we think something and we have a reaction and we make it mean something, and then we spiral out of control and we waste all this time and energy. Or our emotions are our superpower, because when we just see our emotions for what they are, a black and white response to the thoughts that we were thinking, and when we say, oh, my mood has shifted, we use our emotions as a guidance system that they were always meant to be. Oh, crap, my mood just shifted. I'm out of alignment with my higher self. With anything that doesn't feel good, loving, joyful, abundant, and peaceful in our lives, right? When we drop out of that energy, we are no longer in alignment with our higher selves, with our divine selves, with the most conscious, aligned version of ourselves. Well, that's, of course, the version of ourselves we're always wanting to be aligned with, because that's where all of our dreams come true. That's where we have all the things we desire. That's where we're living our best life. That's where we are living a life that we love. And so our emotions as our guidance system, alerting us, oh shit, I don't feel happy anymore. I'm irritated. I'm frustrated. I'm overwhelmed. I'm stressed. Our emotions tell us that shift has happened. And it's the greatest asset we possibly have in our lives, because once we're aware that our emotions have shifted, we can flip that switch and go back. But we actually have to see it for what it is. And by the way, even though I know this, even though I preach it, even though I coach on it every single day of my life, most of us by default, we don't just recognize our emotions as our guidance system. We get sucked into them. And so our job as humans is essentially to increase our awareness so that it takes us less and less time to realize what just happened and course correct. And the quicker we course correct, the less time we waste. The less time we waste, the more time and energy we have to getting the things done that we want to get done, to focusing on the things that we desire. Does that make sense? Okay. I think I've pulled it around. I think I've brought this full circle. But if I did, and if I left you hanging, and if you're like, wait, what? Just let me know. Leave me a comment, leave me a question. I'm always happy to do my best to answer them and to provide more information. As always, I am just showing up here and sharing what is the wisdom that I have gathered and hopefully share it out into the world so that more and more people can live a life they love and love the life they live, you know? More and more people can process their emotions and regulate their nervous system and focus on what they actually desire and activate that energy within themselves and just fucking love the shit out of their life. That is my deep desire. So your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to live and love your life on purpose. Bye, everyone.